Welcome to this deep dive. We're going to be kind of like peeling back the layers of how our cells communicate,
Okay.
specifically how they uh, move and coordinate within our immune system. We're
Interesting.
going to be mainly focusing on an article called Decoding the Language of Cells, Chemokine Signaling Pathways Unveiled. Have you ever wondered how your body knows, like, where to send all those little microscopic warriors, the immune cells, to fight off infections?
It's like they have like an internal GPS, right?
Right.
Guiding them.
And that's where these chemokines come in.
You're right. And it's not magic, it's chemokines. They're like tiny little cellular air traffic controllers, guiding those immune cells to the right spot, to their, designated battlefields.
So chemokines are like little messages zipping between cells.
Exactly.
What are they made of?
Think of them as messages in a bottle, but they're made of protein.
Okay.
Our bodies produce over 50 different types of chemokines,
Wow.
each with a specific message. It's really a complex communication network.
50 different chemokines. That's a lot of messages flying around in there. How do the cells receive and understand all these messages?
Well, each cell has special receptors on the surface designed to pick up specific chemokine signals. Think of them like cellular ears, each tuned to a particular frequency.
So it's like each type of immune cell has a unique radio, and it's only picking up certain chemokine signals, telling it where to go, what to do.
That's a great way to put it. And then when a chemokine binds to its corresponding receptor, it triggers a cascade of events inside the cell.
Okay, so imagine this tiny chemokine molecule docking onto its receptor, like a key fitting into a lock.
Exactly.
It's amazing to think that such a tiny interaction can set off this whole chain of events. What happens inside the cell once that signal is received?
Well, things get really interesting here. This binding event activates what we call signaling pathways. It's like flipping a switch that turns on specific cellular machinery.
So these signaling pathways are how the cell responds to the chemokine message. What kind of machinery are we talking about?
Exactly. And there are three main pathways that are particularly important. The PI3K pathway, the MAPK pathway, and the Rho-GTPase pathway.
3 different pathways,
Yeah.
triggered by this one tiny interaction. It sounds like a pretty complex dance. Can we break down what each of those pathways actually does?
Absolutely. Let's start with the PI3K pathway. You can think of this one as the survival and movement pathway. It helps the cells migrate, meaning move to where they're needed, and it helps them to stay alive.
So the PI3K pathway is giving the cells the energy they need to move, but also telling them like where to go. I imagine it's like having a GPS system that tells the cells like turn left here, go straight for 20 microns.
That's a great analogy. It provides both the fuel and the roadmap for these cellular journeys.
Incredible. What about the MAPK pathway? What role does that one play in this intricate dance?
The MAPK pathway, that's like the control center of the cell.
Okay.
It influences which proteins the cell produces, ultimately affecting the cell's behavior.
So depending on the chemokine signal, the MAPK pathway can tell the cell, hey, you need to become more aggressive in fighting this infection, or, all right, time to calm down.
Precisely. It fine-tunes the cell's response to the specific situation. So, for example, if a cell receives a signal that, indicates a bacterial invasion, the MATK pathway might trigger the production of proteins that help the cell engulf and destroy the bacteria.
That makes sense. It's like the MAPK pathway is reading the situation and giving the cell instructions on how to respond. So we've got the survival and movement pathway, the control center pathway, and then the last one, the Rho-GTPase pathway. What does that one do?
Oh, this one is fascinating. This is like the construction crew of the cell. It allows cells to physically move by reshaping their internal skeletons. So that way they can, squeeze through tissues and reach their targets.
Wait, cells have skeletons?
Yes, they do. It's not made of bone like ours, but it's a network of these protein filaments that provide structure and support. And the Rho-GTPase pathway remodels this skeleton, enabling the cell to change shape and move.
So it's like the Rho-GTPase pathway is constantly building and rebuilding the cellular scaffolding so the cell can navigate through the body.
Exactly. Without it, cells would be stuck in place, unable to reach the areas where they're needed most.
Wow, it's incredible how much is happening inside a single cell, just in response to one little chemokine signal. We had the survival and movement pathway, the control center pathway, and now this construction crew pathway.
And we're just scratching the surface here. What's really mind-blowing is that all of this intricate signaling has real-world implications for our health and for developing new treatments. For our health and for developing new treatments, it really is. Like, just imagine being able to direct immune cells with pinpoint accuracy. Tell them exactly where to go and what to do.
That's mind-blowing. So like understanding these signaling pathways,
Right.
we could develop like treatments that are super precise. It's like almost like having a cellular scalpel instead of a sledgehammer.
Right.
But I imagine there are some challenges in harnessing this knowledge. To create these therapies,
Yeah, you're right. It's not as simple as it sounds. One of the biggest challenges is the complexity. We're talking about a network with over 50 chemokines
right.
and 20 receptors all interacting with each other in really, really intricate ways. Like one misstep can throw everything off balance. It's a very delicate dance.
So how do researchers even begin to develop drugs
Right.
that target this system without causing all these side effects? It seems like a monumental task.
It is. It definitely is. And it requires a very, very deep understanding of each pathway, the specific chemokines and receptors involved,
Okay.
and how they interact with other systems in the body. So, for example, we need to know how interfering with one pathway might affect another, or how a drug that targets a chemokine receptor in the lungs might also impact immune cells in the gut.
It's like trying to solve a giant puzzle where every single piece is connected to a million other pieces.
Exactly. And on top of that, there's the challenge of delivering these drugs to the right cells at the right time. We don't want to just flood the entire body with a drug that interferes with chemokine signaling. That could be disastrous.
So it's not just about developing the drug, but also figuring out how to get it to the right place.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have the technology to do that kind of precision targeting?
That's a key area of research right now. Scientists are developing all kinds of different strategies
Okay.
for targeted drug delivery, like using nanoparticles
Okay.
or modified viruses to carry these drugs directly to specific cells or tissues.
It sounds like we're still in the early stages of exploring this
We are.
therapeutic potential of chemokine signaling. What are some of the areas where researchers are kind of focusing their efforts?
One area that holds a lot of promise is cancer treatment. Imagine being able to use chemokines to attract immune cells directly to a tumor, right?
Right.
Boosting the body's own natural defenses against cancer.
That would be incredible. Are there any other diseases where this type of therapy could be beneficial?
Another area is inflammatory diseases. By kind of modulating chemokine signaling, we could potentially dampen down the immune response in conditions like rheumatoid arthritis or Crohn's disease, reducing inflammation, improving symptoms.
It seems like the possibilities are almost limitless.
They are.
But with such powerful tools, I imagine there's all these questions about how to use them responsibly. So what are some of the ethical considerations that researchers and clinicians are having to grapple with as they kind of explore this new frontier?
That's a crucial aspect of this research. As we delve deeper into the intricacies of chemokine signaling,
Yeah.
we need to be mindful of the potential consequences of our interventions.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. One concern is unintended consequences.
Okay.
So, for example, if we develop a drug that blocks a particular chemokine signal to prevent inflammation, it might also suppress the immune system's ability to fight off infections.
Cool.
Certainly. It's a very delicate balance. We need to proceed with a lot of caution.
So researchers need to be constantly evaluating the risks and benefits of what they're doing. It sounds like this is a field where collaboration and open communication is really important.
Absolutely. We need scientists from different disciplines working together, sharing their knowledge and perspectives, and we need open dialogue with the public
Okay.
so people understand the potential benefits and risks of this research.
It's like we're all on this journey of discovery,
All right.
and we need to navigate really carefully as we venture into this uncharted territory.
Right.
What are some of the key questions that researchers are trying to answer as they delve deeper into the world of chemokine signaling?
Well, one of the big ones is how to predict which chemokine pathways will be the most effective to target, for a specific disease.
Okay.
Another area exploration is how to design drugs that are both potent and specific, right? So we can minimize the risk of side effects. And of course, there's always the ongoing challenge of developing safe and effective methods for targeted drug delivery.
It's a fascinating and rapidly evolving field.
Yeah.
What are some of the most exciting, recent discoveries that are shaping the future of chemokine research?
One exciting area is personalized therapies. Researchers are starting to identify specific chemokine profiles associated with different diseases. This could allow us to create more targeted and effective treatments, treatments tailored to the individual patient.
Wow, that's incredible. So instead of a one-size-fits-all approach,
Right.
we could have treatments that are specifically designed for, your unique chemokine profile.
Exactly. It's a move towards personalized medicine, which could revolutionize healthcare. Another exciting development is the use of artificial intelligence
Okay.
and machine learning
Yeah.
to analyze huge amounts of data and identify new chemokine targets and potential drug candidates.
So it's like we're entering a new era of drug discovery,
Mm-hmm.
powered by, cutting-edge technology and a much deeper understanding of how our cells work.
We are.
But as we continue to push the boundaries of knowledge,
Right.
we also need to consider the broader societal implications of these advances.
You're absolutely right. It's not enough to simply focus on the scientific breakthroughs. We need to engage in thoughtful discussions about the ethical and societal implications of manipulating chemokine signaling.
What are some of the key questions we need to address as a society as this technology continues to develop?
One important question is how to ensure equitable access to these treatments. We need to make sure that everyone who could benefit from chemokine-based therapies has access to them, regardless of their, socioeconomic status or geographical location.
That's a really important point. We don't want these advances to exacerbate existing healthcare disparities.
Right.
What are some other ethical considerations we should keep in mind?
Another consideration is misuse.
Okay.
As with any powerful technology,
Okay.
there's always a risk that it could be used for harmful purposes. So we need to establish really clear ethical guidelines and regulations to prevent the misuse of chemokine-based therapies.
It's a reminder that scientific progress always needs to be accompanied by ethical reflection and responsible stewardship.
Exactly. It's our collective responsibility to ensure that these advances are used for the benefit of humanity and not for harm.
It sounds like this deep dive has taken us on a journey from the microscopic world of cells to the broader societal implications of scientific discovery.
It really has. We've explored the intricacies of chemokine signaling, the potential of this knowledge to transform medicine, and the ethical challenges we need to navigate as we move forward.
Yeah, it really is.
Mhm.
It's amazing to think that something so tiny, this chemokine molecule,
Mm.
can have such a big impact on our health and well-being.
It is.
We've seen how these signaling pathways orchestrate the movements of our immune cells,
Right.
guiding them to fight off infections, maintain our body's defenses.
It really highlights the complexity and elegance of how our biological systems work.
Yeah, and as we continue to kind of unravel all these mysteries, it opens up possibilities for developing new treatments and therapies.
It does.
We talked about some of those applications in, areas like cancer and inflammatory diseases, but it seems like the potential goes way beyond that.
Absolutely. Researchers are exploring the role of chemokines in everything from wound healing to neurodegenerative disorders.
Wow.
It's a rapidly evolving field. We're really only just beginning to understand what's possible.
It's like we've stumbled upon a new language, a way to talk to ourselves at a very basic level.
It is.
But with that power comes a great responsibility to use it wisely and ethically.
Exactly.
So as we delve deeper into this field, we need to be mindful of the potential consequences of our interventions.
We do.
We need to ask ourselves some tough questions about, the ethical implications of manipulating these intricate signaling pathways.
For sure.
What are some of the key questions we need to be thinking about as we move forward?
Well, one crucial question is how to ensure equitable access to these treatments.
Okay.
We need to make sure that everyone who could benefit from chemokine-based therapies has access to them, regardless of their socioeconomic status or where they live.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
We don't want these advances to make existing healthcare disparities even worse.
No, we don't.
What other ethical considerations do we need to keep in mind?
Another one is unintended consequences.
Yeah.
Even with, the best of intentions, interfering with such a complex system could have some unforeseen effects. So we really need to proceed carefully and conduct a lot more research to fully understand the risks and benefits before widespread adoption.
It seems like transparency and open communication are super important.
They are.
We need to have some honest conversations about the potential downsides as well as the exciting possibilities.
Absolutely. And those conversations need to involve a wide range of people: scientists, clinicians, policymakers, the public. It's a collective responsibility to ensure that these advances are used for good.
It's inspiring to think about how this research could, alleviate suffering and improve human health.
It is.
But it's also a reminder that we need to proceed with wisdom and humility,
Right.
recognizing the complexity of these systems that we're trying to manipulate.
That's a great way to put it. We're on an incredible journey of discovery, but we need to be thoughtful and respectful of the intricate web of life.
Well said. This deep dive has given us a glimpse into this fascinating world of chemokine signaling,
It has.
from the tiniest level, the molecular level, all the way to the, societal implications.
Right.
It's a field that's just full of promise and challenges, and it's definitely going to continue to shape the future of medicine
It is.
and our understanding of, human biology.
Absolutely.
It's been great exploring this topic with you.
It's been my pleasure.
Hopefully our listeners are leaving with a sense of wonder
I hope so.
and a desire to, learn more about this incredible field.
Me too.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of chemokine signaling. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.